John William Carson, known to the world as Johnny Carson, was born on October 23, 1925, in Corning, Iowa, the middle child of three in a modest farming family. His father, Homer Lloyd Kit Carson, worked as a district manager for a local utility company, often climbing power lines as a lineman, while his mother, Ruth Elizabeth Ney Hook, managed the household. The family relocated to Norfolk, Nebraska, when Johnny was about 8 years old, seeking better opportunities, a move that shaped his early years into what biographers describe as largely idyllic, filled with small-town adventures and a close-knit family dynamic. From a young age, Carson showed a flair for performance. At just 14, he billed himself as the Great Carsoni, a budding magician who entertained at local events like picnics and church gatherings, charging a modest fee for his card tricks and illusions. This early passion for showmanship foreshadowed his future in entertainment. He attended Norfolk High School, where he participated in theater and developed his quick wit, graduating in 1943 amid the backdrop of World War. Carson enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 1943, serving aboard the USS Pennsylvania as a communications officer in the Pacific Theater. Though he saw no direct combat, the experience honed his discipline and sense of humor, which he often joked about in later years, claiming he once performed magic for Admiral Chester Nimitz. After his discharge in 1946, he enrolled at the University of Nebraska, earning a bachelor's degree in speech and drama in 1949. During college, he worked part-time at local radio stations, refining his on-air persona. Post-graduation, Carson bounced between radio gigs in Omaha, Nebraska, and Lincoln, hosting shows like Carson's Coffee Club. In 1950, he moved to Los Angeles, landing a spot on KNXT, now KCBS-TV, with Carson Seller, a low-budget comedy variety show that caught the eye of comedian Red Skelton. When Skelton injured himself in 1954, Carson filled in for him on a Red Skelton show, impressing executives enough to earn his own short-lived ABC series, The Johnny Carson Show, 1955 to 1956. Though it flopped, it led to guest spots on game shows and talk programs, including Who Do You Trust? 1957 to 1962, where he honed his interviewing skills alongside sidekick Ed McMahon. Carson's personal life was marked by 4 marriages, often strained by his demanding career, and reported struggles with alcohol, which one biographer described as turning him into a demon in relationships. He married his first wife, Joan Jody Walcott, in 1949 while still in college. They had 3 sons, Christopher, born 1950, Richard Rick, born 1951 or 1952, and Corey, born 1953. The marriage dissolved in 1962 amid Carson's rising fame and infidelities. They divorced in 1963. Just months later, in 1962, Carson wed Joan Copeland, a former model, in a whirlwind romance. This union lasted until 1966, ending in a bitter divorce battle over finances. In 1972, he married Joanna Holland, sometimes credited as Joan Ulrich, a model and designer, but alcoholism and workaholism contributed to their split in 1985. His 4th and final marriage, to Alexis Moss in 1987, proved the most stable. Moss, a fellow Nebraskan, remained with him until his death, providing companionship in his reclusive later years. Carson's relationships with his sons were complex. He was often emotionally distant due to his schedule, later expressing regrets about fatherhood. Tragically, his middle son, Rick, a photographer, died on June 21, 1991, at age 39, in a car accident near Cayucas, California. Rick was thrown from his 4-wheel drive vehicle after it plunged down an embankment. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt and died instantly. Carson was devastated, eulogizing Rick tearfully and sharing pride in his son's adventurous spirit. The loss haunted him, contributing to his withdrawal from public life. Carson's defining legacy began on October 1st, 1962, when he debuted as host of The Tonight Show, replacing Jack Paar on NBC. At 36, he transformed the late-night format into a cultural phenomenon, blending monologues, celebrity interviews, musical performances, and comedy sketches. With Ed McMahon's booming Here's Johnny introduction in Doc Severinsen's orchestra, The show became appointment viewing, averaging 7 to 10 million nightly viewers at its peak. Carson's charm, witty, self-deprecating, and effortlessly cool, made stars of guests like Joan Rivers, who guest hosted 28 times, and launched careers for comedians like David Letterman. Over 30 years, spanning more than 4,500 episodes, The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson featured iconic moments. Carnac the Magnificent's psychic gags, animal segments gone awry, like the infamous 1986 squirrel bit, and poignant tributes, such as his emotional return after Rick's death in 1991. The show aired from NBC studios in New York initially, then Burbank, California from 1972. It dominated ratings, earning Carson 6 Emmys, and cementing late-night TV's golden age. Favorite song. Johnny Carson famously identified Here's That Rainy Day by Frank Sinatra as his favorite song, which was performed by Bette Midler on his second-to-last show. Favorite guest/comics. Carson was known for elevating comedians to stardom, with favorites including Joan Rivers, Jerry Seinfeld, and Robin Williams. Favorite successor. While David Letterman was considered favorite to take over the show, he did not. Final guest. Bette Midler was the final guest on his last show on May 22, 1992. His final episode aired on May 22, 1992. 30 seasons and a total of 4,531 episodes, after announcing his retirement in 1991. The emotional 90-minute farewell featured no traditional guests initially, but included a heartfelt monologue, clips from 30 years, and surprise appearances by Bette Midler, who sang Here's That Rainy Day and Wind Beneath My Wings, reducing Carson to tears, and Robin Williams. Carson signed off simply, I bid you a very heartfelt good night, waving goodbye as the credits rolled to We'll Be Together Again. Jay Leno succeeded him, but Carson's era remains unmatched. After retiring, Carson lived reclusively in Malibu, California, sailing, playing tennis, and occasionally writing for The New Yorker. He avoided the spotlight, turning down millions in offers, and battled emphysema from years of smoking. On January 23, 2005, his 79th birthday, Carson died at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles from respiratory failure due to emphysema. He was cremated, with ashes scattered at sea per his wishes. Survived by wife Alexis and sons Christopher and Corey, Carson left an estate worth about $200 million, much donated to charities like the Johnny Carson Foundation for Education and the Arts. Johnny Carson's story is one of rags to riches triumph, laced with personal sorrows. From Iowa boy to late-night king, he redefined American entertainment, leaving a legacy of laughter that endures.